Hey everybody, I thought I'd do a softly spoken vlog. This is like a really bad angle. I'm trying to hold the camera and like lay down right now because I don't feel very good. But I wanted to talk about panic attacks, anxiety, and I might get into triggers for depression, anxiety, addiction, but I'll probably create another video to actually focus on that. So, I actually had a panic attack earlier today, and I felt like my throat was closing up, and I just felt really dizzy. I didn't feel like I could even be functional. And I feel a lot better now. Obviously, I've managed to calm down, but it kind of taught me a lesson as I was reflecting on it. I thought I was kind of out of the woods, so to speak. I thought that I was in a point in my life where maybe I was in more control, but you know what? These things happen, and it's nothing to be ashamed of. But it basically allowed me to realize that a panic attack is kind of like a check engine light that appears on your dashboard of your car. So, if you're having a panic attack, it's like a signal flashing that says emergency, emergency, stop, stop. Just like with a check engine light with the car. If the light flashes, you need to pull over to the side of the road, call AAA, call a tow truck, call the mechanic, and take the car in. It means something is wrong and it needs to be looked at. And panic attacks are kind of the same thing. Now, sometimes there's a legitimate threat that causes anxiety, like your lifestyle could be hurting you. It could be stress at work. It could be something that's a legitimate threat to your safety and health. I had a lot more anxiety, a lot more problems when I was sleep deprived and working at a very stressful job. Now I have a totally different set of problems that are a challenge in my life, but the anxiety I felt was usually in response to work. I do have some social anxiety, and I know that term gets thrown around a lot, but I avoid certain things. I avoid crowds. I avoid doing things in the middle of the day because there's too many people outside. So I found a way to compromise by doing everything really early. As soon as the store opens, I do my grocery shopping so I don't have to interact with too many people. Which is kind of the triggers thing. With life and reality, there are going to be triggers, and you have to decide how you're going to react to that. Are you going to let it crush you, or are you going to try and navigate and change what you can and just kind of like plow through things that you can't change? So, back to the like flashing check engine light type of thing. You have to calm yourself down. That's the first step. I like to lay down. If I'm able to get water, I usually have water near me at all times. You know, for me, I feel like my throat's closing up, so I have to kind of wait before I drink the water. But like the number one thing here when you're having the panic attack is you cannot solve the problem when you're being irrational or over emotional. And I'm not saying that to shame people. I'm saying in that moment, the only thing you can do is just try and sit down, lay down, deep breathing, drink water, meditate, get help from a friend, pray if that's what you're into. And I hate to say, like, ride it out, but you kind of have to ride a little bit. When you're having a panic attack, you can't really fix the external problem in that moment. All you can do is try and just take care of your health in that moment. 2, when you're calm and in a rational state, you can begin to look at, is this a real threat? Is this a real problem? Or is it something very exaggerated and unlikely to happen? So, if it's anxiety because you think you'll lose your job, is it rational? Is it likely that you will lose your job? Are they downsizing? Have you received some type of reprimand from a supervisor that would indicate you might lose your job? Or is it irrational and has no basis in reality? 3, if it's a problem you can actually solve because it's based in reality, then try and solve it. Like, make a list of what possible steps you can take to solve the problem. Maybe you, if you're stressed out in certain environments, you might have to avoid or alter your interaction with that environment. So, devising an action plan that is based in reality might be the best thing you can do. Your plan has to be logical and based in reality. Now, if it's something you can't really change, then you might have to avoid it or accept it. If it's a very stressful job, I think most people are smart enough to know that you should look for another job, but it might be difficult to find a new job. It's not that easy. They don't just come down from the sky, so you might have to try your best to avoid coworkers or situations that cause more stress. But it's not, it's kind of easier said than done. Just overall, when you're having that panic attack, your number one priority is it's like pulling over to the side of the road and calling AAA. You just have to pull over, sit down, deep breathing. If you have a mantra, if you have something that you can say or focus on, that's good. You can't solve the problem when you're irrational, hyperventilating, or over-emotional. 2, is this fear based in reality? Is it something that is likely to occur? Do you have any proof that what you're afraid of might actually happen? If you are afraid that everyone will laugh at you at the bank or the store, most people, they're on their cell phone. They're not even looking at you. And you can't think that in the actual panic attack, but when you calm down and you're looking at the damage that's been done, you gotta say, hey, you know what? I'm gonna walk into the bank or the store. I'm gonna do what I have to do. Most people aren't gonna even notice or care. They probably can't pick me out of a lineup of people who look like me. And, I have the right to do what I want to do. And then 3 is, if this is a real problem based in reality, create an action plan. You can either change the situation, avoid the situation, remove yourself, or just try and cope, accept it, and cope. And that's my 3 steps for dealing with a problem. I actually had a panic attack earlier today, and in my head I was thinking of like the worst case scenario and like all this bad stuff that's gonna happen, and none of it actually happened. Okay. I didn't get in trouble. I didn't have a heart attack. I haven't been publicly shamed. I'm okay. So, if you're watching this and you're scared or worried, it's going to be okay. It's going to be fine. It may not feel like it right now, but it's like if there's a storm, sometimes you just kind of have to wait it out. Okay, I'm going to end this video here. I hope some of this might have been kind of helpful. If you're going through a difficult time, just take some deep breaths, like drink some water. Remind yourself that this is temporary and you can move through and you can plow through any roadblock in life. All right, take care, everybody.